share the screen too.
Oh, all right.
They
All right. I want to. Yes. All right. Can I see if I'm sharing? You are sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Werner, as most of you know, the Scholarly Communications and Research Librarian. Today I'm going to be talking about Academic Writer, formerly known as APA Style Central. Have any of you guys used this back when it was known as APA Style Central? All right. Looks like we got one person who used it. So it's mostly the same. A few changes. They removed the publishing part of it, unfortunately. But APA Style Central is a really good guide for when you're starting to do research and starting to write a paper. I'm sorry, not APA Style Central, Academic Writer now. So the reason they changed the name, which I keep forgetting, is because although a lot of it is about APA style, there is plenty of information for people using other styles. So not just in the psychology field. There's a lot of information on publishing, on how to do research, how to just generally structure a paper. All right, so to get there, on the library homepage, we want to go to Collections and then Databases. And just scroll down here, and Academic Writer. As you can see, the old name is here too. All right, so first thing you want to do is under Welcome, you want to create a login. So this, you don't need this to watch the tutorials that they have, which I'll show you soon. But if you want to do any writing with the built-in editor here, then you'll want to just create an account. To do that, just click Create an Account. Make sure to use your PCOM email. And if you happen to be an APA member, you have an account. All right. Let me here. All right. It's always a relief when I actually remember my password for a presentation. Okay. So there are 3 different sections for Academic Writer. The first one is Learn. So there are 4 aspects of the Learning Center here. And let's start with quick guides. So there are 66 quick guides here. And right now it just has it browsing by topic, but browsing by title. I'm going to change to browse by topic. Because while some of these guides are about just like how to do references in APA style, a lot of them are useful just for doing research writing in general. One thing I found really interesting is up here we have bias-free language. So this shows you, gives examples on how to talk about age, disability, gender, racial and ethnic identity, and then if you just click on one of these, and give it time to load, it will just give you just a brief little guide on how to neutrally report on these things without bias. So this is a good thing, and let me go back to results here. Most of these are good things to know, no matter what style you're using. You also have manuscript sections, which again, this tells you what should be in each section. And again, these are really useful, I'd say, mostly to students and people who are just starting to do research. Because I find a lot of time that writing for doing the research paper, it's a kind of thing that everybody assumes someone else has already taught it. So as researchers, your main focus is going to be doing the actual research and getting the results. And it could be easy to kind of view writing about it as, okay, this is secondary. But, so it can be kind of a thing that you never got to like sit down and be taught exactly how you should do this and why these things are important. So just anything you're interested in. Stuff here, some of it's obviously more APA style, like alphabetizing the reference list. But things such as tables and figures, again, you might want to compare this to whatever style you're using, but things like writing style, precision and clarity, tone, these are things that are going to be useful whenever you're writing. And up here, we have the other things in the Learning Center. We have tutorials, which are pretty much the same thing, but just they're just more in-depth topics. So, and these I find are even more useful for using any style. Things like publishing, like how to determine authorship, basics of copyright and permission, and just designing research. So it's really not just about writing, it's about how to actually start doing your own research. Next, there's self-quizzes, which they're just quizzes, pretty self-explanatory. And then over here we have some sample items. So the sample papers here, these just are exactly what they say. Sample papers, all different types of papers. Like here we have a meta-analysis, a response paper, empirical multi-experiment paper, single study paper, case study. So once again, these examples are psychology or psychiatry, but many of these are going to be, it's going to be the same type of structure, like with a case study, with a single study paper. And let me show the details here. And then if you click the thumbnail, you could just download the entire thing. So these are really good if you just want to have an example of a well-written paper that does everything right. I would also recommend like actually checking out papers in the field that you're writing in, especially the journals you're interested in publishing in. All right. We also have sample references, which these are good if you're writing in APA style. And then sample tables and figures, so you could just see what these are supposed to look like. All right. You could also favorite anything if you want to come back to it. All right. Any questions about the Learn section? Okay. So next we have the Reference Center here. So are any of you in actually doing work with psychology? All right. So if you're not working with APA style, you're probably not going to be using the Reference Center, because what this does is it's a citation manager, but it only works with APA style. So instead of that, I'm going to go over here to Write. And something that makes Academic Writer really helpful here is that it can actually guide you throughout the whole experience of writing a research paper. So let me go here to start a new paper, and I'll show you what that's like. All right, as you can see, there's a bunch of different types of paper, and again, you could view a sample paper, see what it looks like. And I'm going to go to the empirical paper here. All right, then you select, do you want a student assignment or a professional manuscript? Let's do professional manuscript. And then you're going to enter a paper title. Academic Writer and the writing of academic papers. Now with that very not redundant title, let me click start writing. Bless you. All right. So this just tells you how you help for things. And right now, it starts out with the body of your paper. And it's made 4 sections for you. And it tells you what each of these are going to be. The body of the paper opens with an introduction that presents a specific problem under study and describes the research strategy. Because the introduction is clearly identified by its position in the manuscript, it does not carry a heading labeling it as the introduction. And this, again, you'll want to check out. This depends on the style you're using. But you have all these sections. If you look over here, you can see we're in the body, and you can just add a new section. And then it's down there, you can just start typing it. What I really like about this is up here we have the research lab book. So this is actually before you start writing the paper. This is if you want to design the study from the paper research from the beginning. Like if you click develop my research idea, start new idea. And this can start from like the very beginning. Like I don't even know what I want to study. You can ask me questions to help discover my interest. All right, and then you have, that gives you brainstorming questions to write about on the next screen. All right. You have to actually enter something. I'll just put yes. And then it just helps, it really walks you through developing the research idea and developing the exact research question and elaborating on it. So I'm not going to go through all that, but then once you go through this, it helps you figure out what you want to write about. Then you could also do things such as plan and track my research. And this is just a step-by-step of what you're going to do for your research. And if you're new to doing research, this is something that you're going to really need to develop. When you're doing research, you want to figure out what you're doing before you actually start doing it. So plan my research is just a good way to kind of have a standardized guide just to help you get started. You could also actually track what you're doing. You can track the flow of participants. So if you're doing a flow chart, let me get this in here. All right, and this brings you through the entire, basically, from just the population you're looking at. Like here we have female security personnel across the United States, all the way down to actually sampling them and getting these participants. You also have describe my tests and measures, and you could either just describe it or have a form, which basically if you know what tests or measures that you're using, you can have the full citation for it and put all the information in here. So once you've planned all this, let's go back to write. And I'm going to the body. So you might have noticed there's a collaborate tab here. And collaboration is really great because anyone else who's using Academic Writer, I believe it's not just limited to PCOM, but you can add any user who uses Academic Writer, and they could collaborate with you on this paper. So yes, they will have to have access to Academic Writer. So either be in an institution that subscribes to it, like PCOM, or to have an ALA membership themselves. Yes.
My typical answer, where is this hosted? So anything that we put in, is it on our site or is it on an external site?
looks like it's in the cloud. So it is hosted by APA, so that is just how much do you trust them? Yeah, and I could probably find, I might be able to find the privacy policy here on Site Help. I'm looking for that. You have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if under the APA one, if there was the develop my research idea, there's something similar.
Yes, let me. It's under the lab book. Yeah, the develop my research idea. What were you looking for specifically?
Because you had asked if you were interested in psychology and this was the non-psychology, if someone wanted to do one. And under the psychology, is there similar tools as this?
Oh, yeah, this one is the psychology one, but it is, it's basically usable for anyone. There's some stuff that's specific to APA.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's not one for like medicine that does the same thing this does.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes.
A question. So obviously this is like, we're going to be writing, if we do use Academic Writer, everything will be in Academic Writer and whatnot. Can we access this from outside, like through our own login, or does it have to be through a computer or
Oh, as long as you set up your account with your PCOM email address, you can access it anywhere. I recommend going to it through the library website, so it goes through our proxy. Some things you can use your login without going through the proxy, but I always recommend just getting into the habit of going through that. All right. Oops. We get back here. Yes.
You were saying analysis where you write what the analysis will do?
Yes.
Does this link to analysis software?
No. All right. So back and right here, we also have some tools for doing like the title page here, including the running head. The authors you can just put in through a form, and then it automatically formats it. Same thing with, say, abstract and keywords. So the references, again, it's a little tricky because these references are used in APA style. What I would recommend is starting the paper in here and then exporting it. So the way you do that, just go down here to export and then click download, and your options are either Word or PDF. You're going to want Word so you can edit it. Then if you download it, you can use something like RefWorks to automatically put in the references for you and make your life a lot easier. If you would rather not use RefWorks and just manually put in everything, you can do that, but again, a lot easier to just use RefWorks along with WriteInsight or the RefWorks Citation Manager, so you could insert it as you work in Word. The other thing that this does have as you're writing it, it lets you check things. For example, you can run a check on the headings order to make sure that like you don't skip from heading level 1 to heading level 3. You could also make sure that there's no headings that basically you're not supposed to have only one subheading under a broad heading. You're supposed to have at least 2, so this will check for that. Also checking for references. And you could check to make sure that you're calling out tables and figures properly on your paper. So all tables, you want to actually be talking about them within the text of the paper, not just have them there with no context. So this will make sure that you're actually talking about them. And you could actually just add your figures right down here, where you have call out tables, call out figures, and call out appendices. And then you could just add figures in here, give it a caption, and then upload the image. could also change just the page layout here which is good mostly if you're not working in Word and want to do your work. All right. Then export lets you email it or download it. All right. So, any questions about how to use this? All right. So that's the basics of Academic Writer. And again, how you use this depends on what exactly you're writing. I really recommend just kind of using it as a jumping off point in your case, since you're not going to be using APA style. But I definitely recommend going through the learn and the write sections and just looking for some of the writing tips that may not be immediately obvious or may not be something that you'd automatically think about. All right. Anyone have any more questions?
Thank you.
All right, then that is it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.